Hi everybody, welcome to our section 1.8 lecture video on exponents and order of operations. So first thing we're going to start off with is exponents. In the expression 4 to the third, 4 is called the base, and 3 is called the exponent. And what it means is how many times a number is multiplied by itself. So if we have 4 to the third, what that means is the number 4 is getting multiplied by itself 3 times. So 4 to the third means 4 times 4 times 4. 4 times 4 is 16, and 16 times 4 is 64. And so that's what that means, is you're multiplying it by itself that many times. So in our first example, we're going to simplify things that are raised to an exponent. So first one I have is negative 2 squared. So what that means is negative 2 times negative 2. Well, 2 times 2 is 4, and a negative times a negative gives me a positive, so my answer is positive 4. The next one I have is negative 1 to the 5th power. So what that means is negative 1 times negative 1 times negative 1 times negative 1 times negative 1. You notice I did that 5 times, and we're just going to go through. So negative 1 times negative 1 would give me positive 1. If I multiply by negative 1 again, I would get negative 1. Then positive 1 if I multiply again. And then if I multiply one more time by negative 1, positive 1 times negative 1 would be negative 1. So my answer is negative 1. The last one I have is negative 3 to the third. So what that means is negative 3 times negative 3 times negative 3. And I'll give you guys just a moment to try that on your own. So pause your video and answer really quickly, and I'll give you the answer in 3, 2, 1. You should get negative 27 for your answer. Now that we've talked about exponents, let's get into the order of operations. So you guys may have seen this before, but let's make sure that we're really clear on what those orders are. The first thing that you do in simplifying is look for parentheses. Okay, so parentheses, of course, sometimes look like this, but brackets are also on that same level of order of operations. There are also some things that have assumed parentheses. So if you have like a giant kind of division problem, there's an assumed parenthesis for the numerator and the denominator, where you need to do the numerator by itself first, the denominator by itself first, and then do that division last. Okay? Also, if you ever have absolute values, that's on the same level with parentheses as well. And there's some other things, but those are the main ones you're going to see on this level. After parentheses would be E for exponents. Okay, after exponents, the M/D stands for multiplication and division. Okay, some people think that you have to do multiplication first and division second, but that's not true. They're actually on the same level, and if you have more than one of those things, what you do is you go left to right. So sometimes you're actually dividing first and then multiplying second, but you always go left to right when there's more than one. Okay? The last thing is the A/S, which would be doing addition and subtraction last. Okay? And yet again, if you have more than one of these, all you're doing is you're going left to right. So I'll make a little note here for both of those to go left to right when there's more than one on the same level. Okay, that does not mean to do addition before multiplication unless the addition is inside of a parenthesis. Okay, you'll do all that multiplication and division first, going left to right, and then you do addition, subtraction last, going left to right. So let's do some practice. That's going to be a lot of today. It's just doing lots and lots of practice, okay? So first one I have is -2 minus 5 parentheses 5 minus 8. So order of operations says to do parentheses first, so I'm going to start there. I'm going to start with 5 minus 8. Well, 5 minus 8 is -3. And after each step, you'll notice I always rewrite my problem. So I have -2 minus 5 times -3. And I know there's not a multiplication sign in there. That means multiplication if you don't see another symbol, okay? So then what do I do next? I don't have any exponents, so I'm going straight to the multiplication division. So this is what I'm going to work on next. And you can either think of this as plus a -5, or you can think about it as 5, and then we'll do subtraction next. Personally, I kind of think of it as a plus a -5. So I'm going to think about -5 times -3, which would be 15. And it's positive, so now I have -2 plus 15, since we got a positive 15 out of it. If you want to think about it as 5 times -3 is -15, and then you're going to subtract that -15, we would be at the same place. We're still going to get a plus a positive. Okay? Last thing is the addition subtraction. So now we're dealing with -2 plus 15. So that's really the same thing as 15 minus 2, which would be 13. Okay? And that's our answer. With these simplifying questions, especially when there's only numbers in it, you're done when you get a single number at the end. So that's how you know that you've done as much as you can. Let's do another one. In part B, I've got 36 divided by -3 times 2 squared. So I'm supposed to do parentheses first, but there's nothing to do inside of that parentheses, it's just a -3. So let's move on to exponents. So exponents next, 2 squared would be 4. So rewriting, I've got 36 divided by -3 times 4. Then I need to do my multiplication and division. And when there's more than one, because we have more than one, we have a multiplication and a division, which do you do first? We're supposed to go left to right. So we're actually going to do the division first, and then take that answer and multiply it by 4, which will give you a different answer than if you did the multiplication first. 36 divided by -3 would be -12. Then we're going to do 12 times 4, which would give you -48. And we're done. Okay. Let's try another one. In part C, we've got negative, or the opposite, of the absolute value of -80 divided by -8 minus 15. So if you remember from up top, absolute values are actually on the same level as parentheses. So we've got to do that one first. So I'm going to take the absolute value of -80, which would be positive 80, and then I'll go ahead and take the opposite of it and have -80 divided by -8 minus 15. Next up, I don't have any exponents, so I'm moving on to multiplication and division, and I do have some division. -80 divided by -8 would be positive 10. And then I'm going to bring down the minus 15. And last but not least, I'll do my addition subtraction. So I'm going to do 10 minus 15, which is -5. So you'll notice with each one, I'm going in order. I'm starting with parentheses if they're there. Then I'm going to exponents if those are there. Then to multiplication, division, and lastly addition subtraction. And if you notice, I'm writing out every single step along the way, which helps tremendously. Please get in good habits of doing that, okay? Let's see, in part D, I've got 8 minus 2 parentheses 7 minus 2 squared, then I have a plus 3 at the end. So with order of operations, I need to do what's inside the parentheses first. Inside the parentheses, I've got 7 minus 2 squared. So should I do the subtraction first or the exponents first? I should do the exponents first. So now I've got 7 minus 4, and 7 minus 4 would be 3. And now I can rewrite. So I've got 8 minus 2 times 3 plus 3. Next up, I don't have any more exponents. I'm on to multiplication division. So I have 2 times 3, which would be 6. So now I have 8 minus 6 plus 3. And then I'll go left to right. So 8 minus 6 would be 2. And then 2 plus 3 would be 5. Okay. Let's do another one. So I've got, in part E, 3 times negative 2 plus 8 minus 10 squared. So with this one, I'll do what's in my parentheses first. There's nothing to do with the negative 2, so I'm really focused on this 8 minus 10. 8 minus 10 would be negative 2. So now I have 3 times negative 2 plus negative 2 squared. Then I would do my exponent next. So negative 2 squared, that would be negative 2 times negative 2, which is positive 4. So now I have 3 times negative 2 plus 4. After that, I'll do multiplication. 3 times negative 2 is negative 6. So I have negative 6 plus 4. And lastly, I'll do my addition, which would be negative 6 plus 4. Well, 6 minus 4 is 2, and it'll be a negative 2 since the 6 is bigger. Okay, so you'll notice that in everything that we're doing here, you're going to review all of the multiplication and division rules. You're also reviewing all of our addition subtraction rules. So if you haven't felt good with those things yet, you hopefully will by the end of this section, because we're going to do a lot of practice. Okay, last one on this page is part F, and you'll notice it looks pretty complicated. So this is one of those giant fractions where we have a lot going on in the numerator and a lot going on in the denominator. What you're going to do is just deal with them separately and then do that division last. Okay? So separately, in the numerator, I've got negative 16 plus 4 times 5 minus 7 squared. So again, you're not going to do the exponents first. We're going to do what's inside the parentheses first. 5 minus 7 would be negative 2. So now I've got negative 16 plus 4 times negative 2 squared. Then I'll do the exponents. So negative 2 squared would be negative 2 times negative 2, which is 4. So now I have negative 16 plus 4 times 4. Okay. Then I'll do my multiplication. 4 times 4 is 16. So now I have negative 16 plus 16. And then I'll do addition last. Negative 16 plus 16 is 0. And at this point, it's probably going to be an answer of 0, but I don't know that for sure. Because if I'm dividing by 0, 0 divided by 0 is actually undefined. So I need to work out the denominator as well. In the denominator, I have 12 minus 4 times 3 minus 5 cubed. So I'm going to work out what's inside the parentheses first. 3 minus 5 is negative 2. So now I have 12 minus 4 times negative 2 to the third. After parentheses comes exponents. So negative 2 to the third is negative 8. So now I have 12 minus 4 times negative 8. Then I'll do my multiplication. So I'm actually thinking negative 4 times negative 8 is positive 32. So I have 12 plus 32. And last but not least is our addition. 12 plus 32 would be 44. Okay? So at this point, we've simplified the numerator, we've simplified the denominator, and we can go ahead and do that division. Okay? 0 divided by 44 would be 0. Okay? So hopefully this helps you guys get started. I'll also post some practice problems if you guys want to do some extra at home and the answers to those. Good luck today. Let me know if you have any questions along the way.